Hi, I'm Pamela Salzman. Today I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious black bean and beet veggie burgers. They're so fantastic. I would say, a connoisseur of veggie burgers. I'm obsessed with them, but I will not eat those like ridiculous, flavorless hockey pucks that you find in the freezer section of the supermarket. I love like a good, substantial, tasty veggie burger, and this is that. So I'm prepping a couple of ingredients right now for my mixture. A few things I already have measured in the bowl. One of which is the main ingredient, which is black beans. I have 1 cup in the bowl, and then 2 cups I'm actually going to put in the food processor, and I'm going to pulse those up. And what that's going to do is the whole black beans will kind of give some texture to the burger, and then the ones that I'm going to pulse up are going to just kind of help to make everything bound together. It's going to provide almost like a little bit of a stickiness to kind of get everything mixed together. So black beans in here, you can use canned if you like. I made mine from scratch, but feel free to use canned or the ones in the boxes. I have some cooked brown rice, and both of these things can be made well ahead of time and kept frozen, and then you just defrost them before you want to use them. Those are good staples to have in your freezer. I also have some smoked paprika. So this is going to give the burgers the most amazing smoky flavor. It's basically just a pepper that's been smoked and dried and ground up. So it has this really lovely aromatic smoky flavor. You can get smoked paprika in practically any market. I got this on Amazon. And then we have some ground cumin. And this is one of the spices I use for, probably more than anything else. It's just really warm and earthy and almost lemony. And it's really important to me to season veggie burgers really well. Otherwise, they can be kind of bland. I'm also going to be adding some ground or some dried thyme to my mixture, as well as some ground coriander. So this is kind of my spice mix right here. I'm also using a little bit of some spicy brown mustard, which will give great flavor to this. And then to help kind of bind things together, I'm using some oat flour. So if you need to make this a gluten-free recipe, just look for gluten-free oat flour. If you don't want to buy oat flour, no problem. Just take some rolled oats, throw them in your food processor, and press on until it becomes a nice fine powder like oat flour. So the other ingredients that I need to add to this mixture are some garlic, cloves, and I'm just going to use my microplane to get these as finely grated as possible. You can use a garlic press if you want to, but I think this gets the job done. And also, I don't stink up my cutting board. So just go on the back here and scrape off the garlic. And I have here some diced figs. I love the figs in this recipe, but if you can't find them or you don't want to use them, don't worry about it. I originally got the idea for this recipe from a website that was copying the veggie burger at Houston's, which I actually have never had, believe it or not. But people were saying like, oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. So I kind of looked up the recipe, and it had a lot of sweet things in it that, I don't know, to me, we're going to make it a very, very sweet burger. And it didn't sound quite that appealing, but I took a couple of things from that recipe. One being beets, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and the other one being these dried figs, and then the black beans, of course. So you're just going to dice these up like that. We're going to add this to the mix as well. And then I'm going to take some red onion. And I don't need that much, maybe a half of a cup of diced red onion, which is probably less than half of this onion. But we're just going to slide a little of the end off and then cut this in half to peel. And then what I'll do is I'm going to cut this into very small pieces because it's going to stay raw in the burger. So I don't want big chunks of raw onion. So let's get this into some small pieces. Cut parallel to your cutting board to start with, like so. Remember not to cut through your root end, because then otherwise your onion's going to be all over the place. And then cut down the cutting board to the cutting board, and then across like this. And then you have these nice small pieces of onion. Okay, beautiful. Put this in here. Looks like about half of a cup to me. And then we are going to take our food processor and we're gonna pulse those beans, like I said, and I'm also gonna be using some beets. So in a previous video that I have on my site, I show you how to cook beets from scratch. In this recipe, if you don't have cooked beets on hand or you know you're going to the market, you can probably get them already cooked from like the salad bar. A lot of times I see like at my local market, there's a salad bar and you can find cooked beets in there and you can just get those. So you need probably about a half of a pound. So these have been peeled and just chopped up into big pieces. So we'll put this in here. And then all you need to do is just pulse this a bit just so you can get the beets to sort of get a little bit smaller, almost to the size of a bean, and you want the beans just to get a little bit more mashed up. Perfect. That looks good. So it's not a total puree, but still has some texture. But this will help to give the burger a little bit of kind of like that meatiness. So we're gonna add this in here, and then I am going to end up using my hands to mix everything together. And I know that you'll probably get your hands a little bit pink, but it comes off really fast. So just blend this all together, like so. And then you'll shape this into patties. And you can do this the night before if you want to and just cover them really well so they don't dry out. Or you can do this in the morning before you go to work for the day and leave them in the fridge, and then you can come home and just cook them up really fast, and then you've got dinner in like 5 minutes. These also freeze really well, so you can freeze your mixture, no problem. All right, but the key here is to make sure all of your flour and your spices are well incorporated, like that. Okay, great. So we're gonna divide this into 6 patties, and I'm gonna put them on a baking sheet just for now, and then we'll use the baking sheet to store them in the refrigerator. So just shape them like that, and we'll cover them with a piece of parchment. Okay, and here is the last one. So I will just take this piece of parchment paper, stick it right on top of our beet burgers, and we're gonna put this in the fridge for 30 minutes just to kind of firm them up so that they really hold their shape well when we stick them on the griddle. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. So our bean and beet burgers have firmed up a bit. I have my griddle warming up, and I actually like to cook the bean burgers in coconut oil. I think that coconut oil is a very healthy fat. I think it's great to use at higher temperatures. And if you don't have it and you don't like it, then just use olive oil, no problem. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and put it on our warmed griddle. And then I'm gonna stick my burger right on top there. And I'll use a spatula so I don't get my hands all pink. Perfect. That is like the perfect size burger too. It's like nice and meaty. I'm just gonna cook one for now. But what you do wanna do is make sure you get like a nice crust on the bottom of the burger before you flip it over, because what that will do is also to help keep the burger together. Plus it just tastes great, but that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with when they're making veggie burgers, is that the veggie burgers start to fall apart. So that crust helps underneath. Okay, so let me take a peek at the burger just to see what it looks like on the underside. Oh, it looks really nice. It looks like it has that nice golden crust I was telling you about. One way that you can flip your burgers without kind of making it splat is just kind of gently touch the top side and just guide it over to help you flip it over. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Get that nice like golden crust on that side. Now while the other side cooks, I'm going to just take my bun and warm it up here at the same time, just because I like a toasted bun. So this is by Food for Life. These are sprouted buns. I like sprouted bread because it's more digestible, but feel free to use whatever it is that you like. So we'll let this heat up for a minute, and then I'm gonna go get some of my toppings ready. Okay, I think it's time to take my burger off the griddle. So start with the bun, and then place the burger right there. In the meantime, I'll grab the top of my bun, put it on the plate as well. It smells so like smoky from that smoked paprika. I love that. Okay, so let's get started. You can really just do whatever you like, but I think that I'd like to take a piece of lettuce, and you could always use the butter lettuce as a bun instead of using a bun. I love avocado, especially with things that are smoky. So we'll take some avocado slices and just fan them across that way. I am obsessed with cooked onions on a burger, so we can take a few of those as well. And then I happen to think the flavor of the chipotle veganese on this is amazing. So we can just take some of this and spread it on the top of this bun like this. This is a little bit spicy, so if you're not into the heat, then I wouldn't take this on. Otherwise, a little mustard or a smoky red pepper sauce would be awesome. But that, to me, is a great veggie burger. Enjoy.